Blame the Jews for the condition of white Americans today?
Well, I don't want to talk about all Jews, but what I focused on is the activist Jewish community, activist Jewish intellectual movements, and so on. And, try to see where the power is, where the money is, where the influence is. Influence in the media, for example, in the academic world. So those are I'm not saying all Jews by any means, but I think the reality is that Jews are a very powerful group in this country. They are. If you look at billionaires, say 35% of billionaires, well, Jews are like 2% of the country. So Jews are overrepresented in all the markers of success and influence in the society, and yet we can't really talk about them. And that's the problem. I mean, back in the 1950s, when the Jews were not really running this country, there were a lot of critiques of the WASP elite. They were seen as stuffy and exclusive, and they kept people out and so on, whatever. But nowadays, you can't talk about this new elite. You can't name them.
So you're saying that the Jews who run the media and banks and things like that, they are responsible. But what I don't understand, white Americans discovered and built one of the greatest countries that has ever existed on this side of heaven. And if white Americans did that, and I believe that they did, why would they, what was wrong? What is it that they didn't see, or what was wrong with them that they would allow any other culture to come into the country that they built and overtake the media, overtake the banking, overtake the government, whatever it is? What was wrong with white folks that they allowed that to happen? Why didn't they do it themselves?
That is a very difficult question, and I'm writing a book. I'm trying to figure this out. One of the examples that I think you have to think about when you think about white people is Sweden, and you have to understand that white people are individualistic. Sweden now is being completely overrun by third world immigration, and they are. But there's a powerful sense of sort of being part of a moral community. They want to feel they're good people. The assault on white culture and has always been framed as a moral issue, because white people are very prone to that. And so Swedes will not criticize what's going on, even though they see the crime rates rising. Even though projections are that the Swedish people who've been in that area and run that area for thousands of years will be a minority in that area in the foreseeable future.
Right.
And so what is going on with these people? There's this tragic sense of wanting to be a good person. And, it's pervasive. And you see this so often with white liberals.
So are you saying
I think I was sort of that way.
You were that way?
Yeah. I mean, I was like, as I said, I was on the left in the 1960s. And when I started sort of getting away from all that and people started vilifying me, it was very, very difficult. I mean, it's very hard to come to your job and feel everybody hates you, that people won't talk to you anymore, that they think you're a evil person.
So let me ask, Professor, you at one point was a liberal. Are you a conservative now?
I wouldn't call myself a conservative, but yeah, I'm definitely on the right.
And when did you change? When did you change?
I started gradually changing. I voted for Reagan in 1980. Then I started writing my books. And then writing my books is what really put me over the edge. Now I'm an identitarian. I think that white people should be able to identify as whites, pursue white interests, because everybody else does.
Right.
People would never say that Koreans should give up their country, have some massive immigration into Korea, that there's a moral obligation for Koreans to give up their country. Nobody would say that. But would Europe and America? Yes.
But